So today's video is another video in the Kawaii Halloween Keyring series, all for beginners, and today we are moving on to making the Ghost Keyring. Now, I have had a poll up on socials the past week where all of you have seen the pumpkin, and I asked for votes of who to make next, and it was a close call. There were two that had exactly the same, and it was the ghost and it was the cauldron. So I haven't actually got the right plush colour yarn to make up the cauldron, so I thought we will do the ghost this week and we will do the cauldron next week. So I hope that's okay with everyone. These patterns I've written myself, which means you will get the whole pattern in this video. If you are a person that prefers crocheting along with a written pattern, if you go down below, you will find a link to the PDF which you can purchase off of Etsy if you'd prefer to do it that way instead. There are 5, you can't see all of my hand, there are 5 different key rings in this series. We've already made the pumpkin, which is this one just here. The ghost is this one. And then we've got the cauldron, the candy cane and the skull to come. Now, all of my pattern testers have said that the pumpkin took them between 20 minutes to an hour to make. So these are really quick and easy crochet projects to do. So this one shouldn't take you too long either, because it's essentially pretty much exactly the same. They all are, to be honest with you. They've all got the same basis. Once you've done one, you should be able to zoom through the rest of them. For anyone that hasn't watched one of my videos before, I do tend to go quite slowly at the beginning of it because my videos are suitable for beginners. So I will go quite slowly just to teach you the stitches to begin with, but then I will get quicker as we go through and everybody knows what they're doing. So let's just find out what we'll need for this project. So all the items on screen, bar the stuffing, which I absolutely forgot again, of course, typical me that I forgot something. So for this project, what we will need is a photo just up here. For the Rico Ricorumi yarn, you can use any cotton DK yarn. In fact, you can use any DK, and DK stands for double knit for you beginners. So you can use any double knit yarn for this project. The difference is, and I'll show you, this is made with a cotton yarn and you can see how smooth it is. They look really professional. If you start using something like this, which is an acrylic yarn, I don't know how well it picks it up in photos, but it's quite fuzzy, and that means it doesn't look quite as professional or well made when you've got the final product all together. The other yarn that you could use if you didn't want to make a keyring, you can use chunky plush yarn. I haven't got my ghost here just yet, but this is the pumpkin, so you can see the difference in size. You could use a plush yarn instead with this pattern if you wanted to make a toy, and they come out at about the size of an adult hand. So that's your yarn. Everything else, if you're making the keyring, you will need 2 6mm safety eyes. Obviously use the larger ones if you're making the plush. Hey, I've got it on screen there, look. You will then need some toy stuffing to finish off your project. If you are using, or if you are making a keyring, you will need a 2.5mm hook if you're doing it with a DK yarn. If you are using the plush yarn to make a plushie, I used a 7mm hook for that one. You'll need some scissors, you'll need a darning needle. If you're making a keyring, you'll need a keyring. And then you'll also need some black and some pink embroidery threads. Like I said in the last video, I don't know the certain shades for these because I was given a wonderful suitcase full of embroidery threads by my beloved grandma, who passed away a few years ago, unfortunately, and these threads are actually over 100 years old, so I'm slowly working my way through them. But it doesn't matter what shades you have, as long as you've got a black for your smile, and then we use a pink for the blush. So it really doesn't matter what shade it is, just as long as you've got a black and a pink. So that is everything that we will need. And I guess we should just get straight into it. So pick up your white yarn and your hook, and we will go ahead and make a magic ring. So for our magic ring, We are going to be winding our yarn around our left hand, so I have got the end of my yarn just here, and I will drape that over my fingers like so, and I'll use my thumb to pinch the yarn between my middle finger and my index finger, and then we've got the end of the yarn dangling down just here. I'm going to pick up the yarn that's down the back of my fingers now, and I'm going to move it over the front, and then I'm going to twist my hand so it looks like so, and I will make a cross with the yarn, and I'm going to put it underneath my ring finger to hold it in place, just like that. Here's where your hook comes into it. So I'm going to go under the top right of my cross, and I want to point that hook downwards. You can see the hook just there. I'm turning it so the hook is facing downwards. So I'll go under the top right, and then I'm just going to hook over the top left, and I'm going to pull it through to the other side, and then turn my hook towards me so I end up with a loop on my hook. Can you see how that yarn is crossed just there? We're then going to pick up the new top left of the cross, so this bit just here. I'm going to go under that one and pick that one up and pull it through the loop that's already on my hook, and we've done our magic ring, so we can remove our fingers from the yarn. You will see that your end of your yarn is twisted in amongst your circle, so you can pull that one out, and now you have got your circle like this ready to go, and we need to do some single crochets into that circle. So a single crochet is a US term for crochet. For all of my UK subscribers, this is what we call a DC, or a double crochet, exactly the same stitch. So I'm just going to pull on my yarn just to tighten that one, the loop that's around my hook. Now for this stitch, we're going in through the loop, and we're going to wrap our yarn over our hook and pull it up so we've got those two loops on our hook just there. Yarn over and pull through both, and you've done one. Back in through your loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, you've done two. Back in through your ring, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through two, we've done three. There's 4, 5 and 6. So you can now pull on this short end of yarn just to tighten that circle, but don't pull too quickly because your yarn will twist. So pull that one, and we're just closing it really slowly. I'm just going to pull up that one and take my hook out. So there you go, you can see that that hole is now closed, and put my hook back in through that loop and pull on that one to tighten it, and we can start round 2. For round 2, we're going to do 2 single crochets into every stitch, which is also called an increase, because we've got 6 stitches at the moment. If we do 2 in every stitch, we'll end up with 12 at the end of the round. So if you turn your work on your side, you can see you've got lots of different V's. Can you see? You've got a V just there, there's one above it, there's one below, and that counts as 1 stitch. So if you turn, you can count back to find your first. So this one here, just off my hook, just here is my first, and then I've got 2, 3, 4, 5, and this V here is my starting stitch. So we'll go in through this one, which can be a bit tricky to begin with because we've just pulled that circle quite tight. There we go. So now we are going to yarn under. And I explained this in the last video. For amigurumi, when you yarn under and then yarn over, you end up with a closed stitch with fewer gaps, with smaller gaps which obviously we don't want the stuffing to show through at the end. So normally with crochet, I would say to yarn over and pull it through to the other side. We're not doing that. We're yarning under our hook. So we yarn under and pull through, and we're then yarning over and pulling through. And we've done one stitch. We now need to do one more in the same stitch. So go in through, yarn under, pull through, yarn over, pull through, and we've done 2. Into the next, we're doing 2 again. So yarn under, yarn over, there's 3 into the same stitch, yarn under, yarn over, we've done 4 into the next stitch, yarn under, yarn over, there's 5, same stitch, yarn under, yarn over, there's 6 and we're halfway, next stitch, yarn under, yarn over, 7 into the same stitch, there's 8, 2 in the next, 9 and 10, 2 in the next, 11 and 12. You've completed round 2, and now we can move on to round 3. So round 3, and we've currently got 12 stitches. By the end of round 3 we will have 18, and to do that we need to do 1 stitch in the next, and then 2 in the one after, 1 in the next, 2 in the one after. So it's 1 SC followed by 1 increase, or in UK terms it's 1 DC followed by 1 increase. We'll have 18 stitches at the end of the round. So into the first, there's 1, 2 in the next, 2 and 3, 1 in the next, 4, 2 in the next, 5 and 6, 1 in the next, 7, 2 in the next, 8 and 9, 1 in the next, 10, 2 in the next, 11, 12, 1 in the next, 13, 2 in the next, 14 and 15, 1 in the next, 16, 2 in the next, 17 and 18, and that is the end of round 3. For round 4, we've currently got 18 stitches, and we are going to have 24 by the end of this round. So this one works a bit differently to the other rounds that we've done. So we're going to do a single crochet followed by an increase to begin with. So into this first one it's just 1, and then 2 in the next, 2 and 3. So it's 2 singles, 4 and 5, 2 in the next, 6 and 7, 2 singles, 8 and 9, 2 in the next, 10 and 11, 2 singles, 12 and 13, 2 in the next, 14 and 15, 2 singles, 16, 17, 2 in the next, 18 and 19, 2 singles, 20, 21, 2 in the next, 22, 23, and just to finish this round off, 1 single one in the next, 24. So there is round 4 finished, and now we can move on to round 5. Here's where this pattern's a bit easier than the pumpkin, because we've now finished doing all of our increases and we're not doing any decreases at the end of this pattern. So from now on, this is round 5 and all the way up to round 12 now, all of the rounds are exactly the same. It is just simply 1 stitch in every stitch all the way around. So we've got 24 stitches. We'll be doing 24 single crochets US terms or 24 double crochets UK terms all the way around for round 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. It's that simple. So this is round 5. I'm going to show you how to do 1. And then once you've done it once, you can continue doing it all of the way till round 12. So into our first stitch, there's 1 into our next, there's 2 in the next, 3 in the next, 4, in the next, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 and 24. So that was round 5. We need to continue to do that for round 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. So there will be another 7 rounds of just going all the way around for 24 stitches. I am going to go and do round 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11 off of camera, and then I will come back and show you how to do round 12, because I need to show you how to finish that round off at the end before we go further with our ghost. So moving on to round 12, this is what my project now looks like after doing up to the end of round 11, which, as I said before, they're all exactly the same. Round 12 is still the same, so we want to do 24 single stitches all the way around. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 and 24. So that was the end of round 12, and we can now move on to round 13. So for round 13, we're going to be crocheting into the front loop only. Now, I will try to give you a close-up here so you can see what you're doing. So, hopefully it's all focused. There we go. Of this stitch here, you can see you've got a loop this side, or a strand of yarn this side, and a strand of yarn that side. So those two loops make up the stitch. This side just here is the front loop, this side just here is the back loop. So we're only going to be going through this loop for this round, and I'll show you what I mean. When you put your hook in, you won't go through like that to pick up both loops. You are purely going to go in through when crocheting around this round and just picking up that front loop just there. So let's try and do this one together. And we're just making the frill on the bottom of the ghost now. So into the first stitch, we want to do a slip stitch. So remember, just into the front loop. We're going in through, pulling up a loop, and then pulling that one through the loop that's already on our hook for our first slip stitch. We're now doing a repeat. So into the next stitch, we're doing single crochet, half double crochet, single crochet, and then 2 slip stitches. In UK terms, in the next stitch would be double crochet, half treble, double crochet, slip stitch in the next 2. So remember, front loop only. So a single crochet to begin with through that front loop, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through both. We now need to do a half double crochet into that same stitch. So yarn over into the same stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through all 3. We're then going to do a single crochet into that same stitch. So pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through both. We now need to do 2 slip stitches. So into the next, front loop only, pull up a loop, pull it through the loop that's on your hook, into the next, pull up a loop, and pull that loop through the loop that's on your hook. Now back to our single crochet, half double, single crochet. Front loop only, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through both, yarn over, same stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3, single crochet in the same stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through both, a slip stitch in each of the next 2 stitches. So front loop only, pull up a loop, pull it through the loop that's on your hook, into the next stitch, pull up a loop, pull it through the loop that's on your hook. And again, we're just repeating that going all the way around. So into the next, single crochet, half double crochet, single crochet, slip stitch into each of the next 2 stitches, 1 and 2, single crochet into the next, half double crochet into the same, single crochet into the same, slip stitch in each of the next 2 stitches, 1 and 2, single crochet in the next, half double crochet in the same, single crochet in the same, slip stitch in the next, slip stitch in the next, single crochet in the next, half double crochet in the same, single crochet in the same, slip stitch in the next, slip stitch in the next, single crochet in the next, half double crochet in the same, oh, this one's a bit tough, isn't it? Oh, there we go, single crochet in the same, slip stitch in the next, slip stitch in the next, and now we should have our last set. So single crochet in the next stitch, half double crochet in the same, single crochet in the same, and now you're left with 2 stitches, which are your 2 slip stitches. So there's 1 and 2. I am now going to slip stitch to that first stitch that you can see just there. So I'm going to go in through that one, pull up a stitch, pull that one through the loop that's on my hook, and you can now fasten your white off because we're going to make the base. So to fasten off, I'm going to make sure that I've got a tail of yarn that's at least 15 centimeters long for sewing at the end. And then what I will do is I wrap my yarn around my hook, pull it through the loop, and you can pull that one tight, and there is our ghost so far.